In the previous videos of this WordPress plugin development series, we created our portfolio plugin and added different features. Like we created our custom posters, taxonomies, and everything. But there is a very important topic we must cover before taking any plugin to production: plugin security. A plugin may work perfectly, but it is not secure. Attackers can, but if it's not secure, attackers can exploit it to inject malicious code, steal data, or even can take control of our website. So in this video, I will show you the most important best practices for security which every WordPress plugin developer must follow. We will cover sanitizing user input, escaping output, using nonces, checking user capabilities, and writing secure database queries. And we will implement everything inside our plugin step by step. Yet we have to create our settings page. So I think it's a perfect place for us to understand how we will be making our plugin fully secure. So without wasting any of our time, let's quickly jump into the tutorial. Alright, for demonstration purposes, I have quickly created a demo page so I can first show you how plugins can be compromised if we don't care about our security. Alright, so if you see this page, it is a very simple form. And for example, we are expecting user to add a test or anything in the field and submit. And once a user submit, our Ajax form will be going into the back office and our Ajax request will be running, and we are just simply embedding that inserted text at the end of the body, like we are simply appending it into the body. All right, and if I simply click on it, all right, so we can see this is our text if you see my cursor. All right, but that's what we are expecting. But if hackers or users play something like totally unexpected, for example, if they can see something like on error, and they can say like document, if I simply can add this thing. All right, so what it actually does, it is providing an image tag and also running a javascript which says on error you have to simply set the background color of the document body to the yellow. All right, so if first let me show you the code. This is the code which is handling our Ajax request. We are simply fetching the post field and we are echoing it without sanitizing it. All right. So if I simply click submit, boom. All right. I hope you got the idea how hackers can get into our websites. All right. Around 50% websites are insecure just because of the plugin's security. All right, so how to tackle it? The best way is to make sure we are always sanitizing user data. So we have to simply sanitize our text field. All right, and if I simply copy this field data and I simply reload the page, and if I first submit our test like we did earlier, so it shows up here. And again, if I simply use same and submit, all right, nothing happens. Why? Let me quickly do that once again so we can see. I have to simply copy it. I have to reload the page so I can simply show you the request in the browser network. I am just copying that once again. Everything is almost similar. To be certain, let me just select from the input as we did earlier. All right, we are submitting. Our request is running. Perfect. Our request is there. If you see now, our response is nothing. Why? Because that code has been sanitized, and once it's sanitized, the browser, our WordPress system returns nothing because we are having not anything useful at all. To be certain, once again, we can simply run our test once again to check what's going on. And if you see our second our payload contains text and our preview is simply text and our response is text, and if we go to elements our text is there. All right, so this is a very basic example to show you how plugins can be compromised. Now how to avoid this situation? All right, for that it comes sanitizing. First of all, we are going to discuss sanitize, which we have seen a demo. So what sanitization is actually? All right, sanitization means cleaning the data that comes from users before saving it into the database. For example, let's say this is a form, so we have to simply save this data into the database. All right, so we are expecting a user to add anything. We cannot expect that user will be adding in the same format like we are expecting. So we have to always sanitize our data before saving into the database. We cannot trust user anyways, because we don't know which is our legitimate user and which is a hacker. All right, so that way we will be simply sanitizing our data like this, and then we can proceed towards the saving. All right, so next we will be discussing how to escape the data. What is escaping? Actually, sanitization, which we just discussed, it protects the database. So once we sanitize and save data into the database, it is clean. While escaping actually is something once we display our data on the front end screen. All right, so we have to also protect the data. Why we have to protect the data? For example, if we see our example here, let's say we simply saved this thing and it has been saved into the database without any sanitization. All right, now once we are showing it like here, we are simply using it here. Again, if we escape it, like let me simply show you what I mean here. I can simply say echo escape html and test. All right, so I can show you what it means. So now we are not echoing this thing. All right, because we are not saving at all, and this is our malicious code, and now we are simply echoing it but with escaping. So let's see what happens now. Perfect. Now if you see, though our code is there, though if you see our payload is a same thing, and our response, if you check, perfectly escaped. It means the malicious strings which can cause something, trouble for us, those have been converted to the HTML entities, so nothing actual code runs and we are safe. That's how escaping comes handy for our development. All right, next comes nonces. The next security practice is using nonces. Nonces protect against something called CSRF attacks, which stands for cross-site request forgery. This happens when an attacker tricks a logged-in user into unknowingly performing an action. For example, imagine I am an admin and I am logged into my this website form. Okay, so if attacker sends a specially crafted request to our plugin, the admin's browser might execute it without realizing it. Like if something is fishy and I am running into it and clicking execute, so it can create us some errors. To prevent this situation, we use nonces. So for example, how we actually create nonces? We create nonces something like, for example, we can simply create WordPress built-in method, which is WP nonce field, and we can name it whatever we want to say. In our case, let we want to say it save field, and we can portfolio nonce. All right. So what it does, it will be adding a hidden field to our form. This field contains a unique token generated by the WordPress. So how actually it will be preventing us? So during inside the form, we will be creating a nonce field like this. And once we are handling our form, let's say for example, we are handling form here. So we can handle form, and we have to first check. For example, if like we can check if is set, and here we have to make sure we are checking our nonce. What was the nonce? Was portfolio nonce. All right, so something is wrong here. All right, this way we can, this actually. double. All right. So we can check if is set our nonce. And furthermore, we can also verify if our nonce is same which we are expecting. Like if not, WP verify nonce, and we can check it against our post, and the name of our nonce is portfolio nonce, and we were expecting a value of save portfolio. So we can see if it is same which we were expecting. All right. If it is here, we can run code. Otherwise, we can simply return or show warning or message and die. All right. So that's how our nonces prevents us and how we use it. In the form, we create our nonce, and in the form handle, we check for the nonce to make sure the input which is coming from the legitimate form. All right. Now, next step to add security is we can always check for the capabilities. Okay, capabilities are permissions. Another important security practice is always to make sure our permissions are set and we are testing it, because not every user should be able to perform administrative actions. As we are creating plugins, we might give some sort of a control to our user, which is registering from our user, or we may be creating certain roles. So how to do that? We can check, like for example, if we have to check for the uh, I would say admin can manage actions options, so I can simply check for the manage options thing. All right. So if it is there, we can run or allow the process. Otherwise, we can return or show message. So also, if we have created our custom roles, so we can fetch our role and check if that role is against current user's role, if we want to proceed or we want to show messages. So it's also very important thing to be certain. It's our responsibility being a plugin developer that our plugin does exactly what it's expecting. All right. So next thing comes our database queries. Database queries, it's I would say that it is a last important thing in writing our this plugin. We may not be using database queries in this particular plugin, but obviously once we are developing plugin, database queries are something which we will be handling in almost each of our plugin. All right. So one of the most dangerous vulnerabilities in web applications is SQL injection. Let me show you an example. All right. So, for example, I have a query, and the query's purpose is to select, and it can be from some table, and where ID is expected some ID from the submitted user input. Right. So we want to fetch a user or all users based on ID which user provided. All right. This query directly inserts ID into the SQL statement as ID coming from user. So as I already mentioned, we have not to trust user at all. Okay, because for instance, we are expecting user to insert one. Okay, so what if a user is an attacker, or he simply provides us something like this? All right. So what it does, if you see now, query becomes something like, let me quickly place it instead of ID. Obviously, our variable will be replaced with our actual provided input. So our query will be becoming something like this. Now you see, this is a query. All right, and where part contains two things now. One R one, two. One part is ID is equal to one, R1 is equal to one. But if you see, the condition 1 equal to 1 is always true. This means the database will return all records instead of just one. In more dangerous cases, attackers can even modify or delete data. So this is called SQL injection. To prevent this, WordPress provides the WPDB prepare method. What is WPDB prepare method? So for example, I have to use query, and we use WPDB object in WordPress, and we can call prepare method. All right. prepare method like this. So inside it, we will be using our query. Right? So I am not bothering about the syntaxes and these things. I know it is, we have to be keep into the short, but it's as it is only for learning practice. All right. So what actually our query should go like something like this, and then we can pass our ID like this. All right, so it becomes our query. So what it does, the prepare function safely inserts variables into the SQL query. Now as our query is residing inside a prepare function, so it will be safely, if there is anything malicious, it will be handling it like our escaping did. All right, so this prevents attackers from injecting malicious SQL code. All right, so I think we have covered a lot of ground. Simply to make our WordPress plugin secure and production ready, always follow these practices. Sanitize user input. Second is escape output before displaying. Third is use nonces to protect our forms. Fourth is check user capabilities to allow users only those processes which they are meant to perform, right? And lastly, we can use prepared database queries. These simple steps can prevent some of the most common security vulnerabilities in WordPress plugins. All right. So I personally feel we have covered almost everything. And if you guys think we missed anything, you can simply ping me in the comment section and I will be trying to read you accordingly. Okay. If you if you want to see more videos from this WordPress plugin development series, obviously keep engaged, as our next videos are still pending and we are working on it, and these will be coming very shortly. And if you want to have the full code examples and everything, you can follow our previous videos in this plugin development series, and you can always check our website. Links are provided in the description so you can get relevant codes. Also I will be adding the link of of this post in the description of this video, so you guys can get more detailed view and whenever you need it. All right, so if you like our work so far, don't hesitate to subscribe, and see you in the next video. Until then, have a nice time. Bye bye.